and what it takes to run a successful business. Thank you. John?
Hi, my name is John Gavin. Let me try this again. My name is John Gavin, and I was born in the Bronx. And I say that because just because I wasn't born here doesn't mean that I don't call this home. I do. My wife and I live on a small farm outside of Paonia on Stewart Mesa, and this past weekend we moved into our energy efficient house that we designed and built ourselves. I'm interested in the DMEA board position because I've been interested in energy virtually all my life. I started my working career as a naval engineering officer where I ran a 54 megawatt propulsion plant on a guided missile destroyer. So I've been exposed to the power business and what it takes to deliver energy. After leaving the Navy, I joined the telecom industry and spent 27 years working in telecom. And I have to say, from what I've seen of the utility business,
I'm getting my microphone to work. Are your microphones working over there?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, Steve.
My name's Steve Shea. My wife and I operate and own Shea Feedlot in Delta. We've been operating there for the last 18 years on our own. So we have a good idea about what it takes to stay in business in Delta County. And I feel that this is this position on this board is a good place for me to give back to the community of Delta and Montrose. The two have been real good to us over the years. We'd like to continue to help run this operation.
Thank you. David?
Hi, my name is Dave Stuke, and I live in Orchard City and the Eckerd part of Orchard City. My thanks to all of you for being curious about the candidates for the DMEA board, and my thanks to the League of Women Voters for putting on this get-together. I think I'll start with a question for you before you get to me. The question is, what do you want in a DMEA board member? I hope honesty so you can trust what they say and do. And how about curiosity? People that ask tough questions and expect straight answers. Maybe third, dedication to the company and acting in DMA, the best interest of customers of the DMEA. I would like to think that I possess these characteristics and qualifications. I hope you get a chance to find out. Thank you.
Thank you. John, did you get to finish?
oh, I'm
Okay. We'll go with the questions, and I will start with the people who signed up first. Mark Valentine. We've got a microphone.
We got a microphone. It'll work. All right.
Hello. It works. We have had a problem with conflict of interest on the board before, and I would like to ask, actually it's a two-part question, Karen, hope you'll let me do this. First of all, if you have, well, let's see. If you should have a conflict of interest, how would you handle it?
We will start with Terry.
Well, that's true. We've had conflicts of interest, but we have to work it out and be a unit and have one board vote. And that's how the conflict of interest should take place, and I believe it's going to take place on this board.
AJ?
The conflict of interest requires that the person who is in conflict recuse himself from any business dealing with that situation, and I would most certainly do that. I wouldn't vote to change the bylaw.
Okay, thank you. Jenny?
I would recuse myself from any vote conflicts, and leave it up to the board to decide if it's time to step down.
Sue?
I also would recluse myself from any voting and any influencing the board on that issue if I had a conflict of interest.
John?
Of course, I would do the same, and I will say that, I am a member of Delta County Economic Development, and I see that that is complementary to the DMEA mission.
Stephen?
I too would recuse myself from any conflict. There's only one way to settle those things, is just somebody step back from the table.
And David?
Well, same thing, but it's most important that I would avoid any discussion on the topics that are involved in the conflict with any other board members or employees or anybody, because you need to separate yourself from more than just the vote. Thank you.
Thank you. This question says, it's a long one, so you'll need to pay attention. DMEA bylaws require that a solicitation and review of banking services and providers be conducted at least every 5 years. There is no provision requiring review of legal services. Do you know how often the providers of either service have been changed? And do you believe DMEA extends all of its business member owners equal opportunity to supply these services? And we will start with BJ.
No. I think everybody should have an opportunity to apply and be a part of any service offered by DMEA if they're qualified to do that. Do I know how often they've been changed? No.
Terry?
I think you're gonna have to repeat that, because I didn't quite get it.
Okay. The bylaws require, DMEA bylaws require that a solicitation and review of banking services and providers be conducted at least every 5 years. There is no provision requiring review of legal services. Do you know how often the providers of either service have been changed? And do you believe DMEA extends all of its business member owners equal opportunity to supply these services?
Yes. No, I do know that there's guidelines we have to go by, and as far as I can tell, we went by the guidelines. That seems like a big question with several parts to it.
It is. So why don't you break it down? Do you know how often the providers of either service have been changed? Which would be the providers of banking services and legal services.
Well, we review that every year. And we review it every year, and then they select the best one for our needs.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah.
Okay. Jenny? Or
Well-
Sue? Start with Sue.
I do not know if they have done that, when the last time they reviewed it, because I'm not on the board right now. But I agree that if there's a policy that says that they should review it every 5 years or whatever the period of time may be, that they should abide by those policies and review it for whoever is the best provider.
Okay, thank you. Jenny?
I don't know either. However, I always like honest competition, so if their guidelines say there should be a review, then that leaves it open for competition. I certainly hope they're doing that.
And we'll move to Stephen. You need me to read it again?
I wouldn't understand it the third time, probably.
I think they're just wanting to know if there's a provision, if they are allowing providers or your DME members, how often they have been changed, the banking services and the legal services. Are they following the bylaws?
I would suspect that everybody has to read the bylaws and follow them. encourage every board member to, you know, review the legal staff and the solicitors.
David?
Thanks a lot, but this is a great question for somebody that's never been on the board. But the thing is it sounded like in the question, they said there was no review of the legal representation that they had. And I believe that possibly if they do it for their banking business, then they should do the same thing.